Good morning, everybody. Natalie coming to you live. Spirit and coffee. Got my coffee here. Yum. Oh, it's so good. Okay, let's get started. We'll see. Look at me. I got ready today. No more. Well, I'm still in my workout clothes. I have a workout that I'm going to be doing soon, but with a friend of mine who I actually had as a guest on here at one point. Um, and staying healthy, maintaining my health as we go through this transitional phase. And I just thought, I need to get up and get ready because how are we staying motivated, right? During this time is a question that I sort of asked, on my Facebook page. How are we staying motivated? How are we keeping ourselves together? How are we continuing to uh, drive ourselves forward as all of this stuff unfolds? Now, the motivation, some of it is like, yeah, I have to get up and get ready and act as though I'm still gonna go to a work environment or whatnot. Um, so getting up, getting ready is something that's motivating me. Now, what are you guys doing to stay motivated is my question. Anyone can answer. I hope somebody answers. It'd be nice to hear from you people. Good morning, whoever got on here. I don't know who that is. Hope you have your coffee if you're a coffee drinker like I am. But yes, I decided to get ready because I was like, girlfriend, just being like literally in my workout clothes or pajamas all day long, which is fun. Don't get me wrong. But after a while, you're like, okay, I got to do something for myself. Um, and so getting up and getting ready has been a big thing. Working out, eating healthy food, and staying, building my immune system, right? Now, do want to talk about I did bring a book. You guys know that I was reading the Four Agreements before all this happened, and sort of talking about the Four Agreements. And I think the Four Agreements is relevant to what we have now, right? Always do your best, be impeccable with your word. Um, what are the other ones? Never make assumptions. I always forget one. Okay. Good morning. Is that Mercy? Mercury? Mercury. Um, okay, so let's get started. I have this book. It's called The Kundalini Rising. This is a really good book. I highly encourage that you read it. A lot of talk has been going around about Kundalini. That's sort of surfacing up again. People wondering, well, what is the Kundalini? What does it mean? And I thought that when I first heard the word Kundalini and stuff, I thought that it was this energy that only certain people could harness and that it would take years to master Kundalini energy. Really, after reading this book, understanding that we ourselves have actually tapped into some Kundalini energy, maybe without even realizing that we've tapped into Kundalini energy. Now, we do know that there are the chakra systems, and the chakra systems in our body, which are called the nadis, right? They're called nadis, which I thought about doing nadi yoga. They have booty yoga. I thought nadi yoga would be the next yoga. Anyway, the nadis, they're sort of like the energy fields within our body. And there's a lot more than seven, but they're always referencing the seven nadis that go up in the body, right? Good morning, Nina. Good morning, Antonio. So here is what I'm going to say about what I know. It is the energy that rises up in our body. You can look at it like a snake that spirals up and out of our head like this. And that is our connection to creator, to God, right? So if we looked at the nadis, if we understood that each one of those chakra channels that we're talking about, those channels are linked to the hormonal glands that we have in the body. Now, I remember one of my biology teachers talking about, she would say it's not the food itself that screws us up, right? It's not the genetically modified food, right? This is what she said. She was a botanist, okay? She said it's the hormones that screw you up, the hormones that change DNA, the hormones that put our body off of whack, right? And there's other things that like like obstruction in the body, which would be like the mucus in the body, that kind of stuff that gets us sick, right? That makes us sick in the body. Now, how do we undo this stuff? How do we connect to the Kundalini energy, right? A lot of it has to do with meditation, yoga, exercise, moving, staying still, understanding the vibrational frequencies in the body. Why am I telling you this now? It's important, you guys. We are it. I want you to understand the era that we're in. We are in a critical time right now. Now, I had a sense of peace. I watched this video, which was pretty interesting, right? Um, and the video sort of gave me a peace of mind. It gave me a peace of mind to know that whatever is to come is going to be okay, right? It's for me, I guess my greatest fear, what was coming up for me the most is that people would get left behind or people wouldn't wake up to their divine nature. But that's not my job, right? I have to keep reminding myself. Like I told you, we get these amnesias, right? Like, oh, I want to save the world. I don't have that ability. That is not my job. Okay. My job is not to do that. My job is to teach. Now, whatever people learn, they learn. And whatever they don't, they don't. And that's fine either way. But to teach is important. And to teach you guys that we are entering a new era, right? We've entered the era of Aquarius. Okay. We are completely shutting the doors on Pisces. Okay. And Aquarius is fully going to rise up. When that happens, things are going to shift. Things are going to look weird. If people aren't mentally, spiritually, and physically grounded, it's going to be very painful for them. And the people that have been ready to accept a transformation on this scale it'll still be hard, but they'll have the tools to get through it. And that's what I'm teaching you guys is have the tools to get through when these painful things happen. Like this entire economy, right? Yeah, sometimes I wish I could save the world, but it's impossible. Yeah. And it's one person at a time for sure, but at the end of the day, Nina, it's like us, we have to save ourselves. I have to laugh at myself sometimes because I'm like, Natalie, you're taking yourself too serious, girlfriend. Stop it. It's not that serious. Good morning, Suze. So if you hear me slurping on the Podbean, it's my coffee. It's so yummy. Adobe Morning by Pinon Coffee, by the way, which is native to native. Which I don't think they sell it where you're at, Suze, because it's a local. Um, so so yeah, and I put some cardamom and cinnamon in it and all that stuff. So I love coffee. Okay. It's my favorite thing. Don't take my coffee. You could take anything, just don't take my coffee. Okay. That would be pure hell for me. Good morning, Irene. It'd be like hell would be for me, like there's a coffee, but I can't get to it. And like I'm just looking at it and it's there forever and I just can't get it or drink it. Oh, that would be so sad. Okay. Squirrel. I do that sometimes, go off topic. Okay. So we have the ability to transcend time and space, but we have to understand how to work our vehicles, right? Our vehicles. Now, this is a hard thing to understand. Good morning, Tom. How do we work our vehicles? Oh, I look beautiful. Thanks, Irene. I got up and got ready today. I said, oh, girl, you need to. You guys usually see my hair. I don't even care. I'm raw and real. I don't even care. I'll be coming like not showered to these things and whatever. I've been doing these live videos for over 2 years. I've gotten no better. It's exactly the same. It's very raw and organic and real, right? If we can't be raw, organic, and real, then what are we doing with our life? Um, okay, so the Kundalini rising is the energy, and it helps us to sort of figure out how to navigate our vessel. We weren't given instructions, right? What instructions were we ever given to navigate our bodies, right? It was like, oh, here's the food chain, here's the pyramid, here's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It was like, I hate to say, excuse my language, a bastardized model of what we really get to do. When you look at Maslow's hierarchy, did he make it up? No. And everybody gave him credit. All he did was use the chakra systems, put it in a patriarchal model, and then told us, here, this is what you need to do to ascend or, ascend. Really, all it was the old chakra system. He took the system from from native or from ancient traditions, which we call the chakras, which came from India, which we know they have ancient texts. Now, I will tell you that if you start to do more research on the body and how we navigate the body, I believe that the Indians, not Native American Indians, but actual Indians from India, have the probably the closest manual that would help you to navigate your vessel. Why? Because they have the Ayurvedic system, which tells you what you should eat in order to stay healthy. It heals your body, it keeps you grounded. They have yoga, which tells you how to move your body so that you can clear out the mucus and obstruction in the body, right? And then they have Kundalini, which is the breath work that helps you to clear out the mucus and all of the stuff in your system. They have all of these processes that sort of show you how to navigate your vessel, your vehicle, so that you can release the obstruction in the body to connect to your divine self, your higher self. They have a cool system. Now, have I done all their systems? Yes. Is it easy? No. I was doing Kundalini practice every morning for almost a year and then I stopped. Okay. So, getting back to the Kundalini practice of breath work, what it does is it tells you how to use the breath. Now, when we're looking at this virus that's happening, right? It's all respiratory. And I believe and love my lungs. Okay. And I have asthma. I've had asthma my whole life. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of my story. And I guess what I get upset about, there's a lot of things and triggers that I had around this whole thing about the respiratory issues that are going on and the lungs and all this stuff. And my thing is that they're talking about this virus right now. Every life matters. But when we look at the numbers of people who have passed away, it's very sad. Yes, more people die from smoking cigarettes. More people die from secondhand smoke exposure. When I was a kid, I was exposed to all of this stuff. Nobody ever shut down the economy because of the tobacco companies not regulating what they should be doing. Are people not regulating? You used to be able to go to private bars. I mean, everybody was smoking everywhere and it was impacting the lungs of individuals. Nobody could breathe. Okay, casinos have these policies in place where they allow their workers to be exposed to secondhand smoke because they allow smoke to happen in their casinos. The smoking rate has gone up. People don't realize that smoking directly impacts all kinds of different things in your body, not just your lungs, but your heart. If you're diabetic, your amputations are going to go up. All of these different things. And nobody gave a two shits about that. Nobody ever talks about that. And it's frustrating for me, right? It's frustrating, especially from a person who has asthma. Now, what am I trying to say here? What I'm saying is it doesn't matter if it's because of the virus our lungs are getting jacked up and people now are looking to that. I used to work at the American Lung Association. I still work in tobacco prevention, okay? This is a side note of what I do for my daily work, okay? And I'm a little venting right now, which is not normal for Spirit and Coffee, but I'm making a point about Kundalini and breath work, okay? Now, are you talking about the ill effects of smoking? Partially, but that's not really the topic. My topics always lead back to God or to creator or to the universe or whatever you want to call it. I say God, Yahweh. Okay, how does it all interconnect? I'm going to tell you. Breath. Breath is the most important thing we have. People are afraid right now because they don't want to lose breath. People are drowning literally. Like when they say they get this virus, they say they're drowning. Okay, that's terrible. That's not good. We don't want people to experience that. How do we protect? How do we protect our air, our breath, our lungs? How do we create healthy lungs for ourselves? Kundalini is a practice of breath work. It allows us to use the breath, to remember the breath, to bring us back to clearing out the mucus within our body vessel so that we can intake what we call the ether, the spirit, right? This breath, they used to call it the spirit, and we can take it in. Like there was this invisible thing that they didn't understand what was happening. which is the oxygen, right? Which is what life gives us, right? The trees give us oxygen. We put out carbon monoxide. They give us oxygen. They use it. And together there's this partnership between the two. Okay. Or is it carbon dioxide? Sorry. I don't know. You tell me the right things. Okay. Okay. So here we go. Um, the Kundalini is super important. And I think there was so this book right here, right? This Kundalini Rising. I highly encourage that you get the book and that you read it. Um, but if you don't, guess what? I'll read it for you like I normally do. And then you guys can then give your input as to, and I'll give my input as to what is going on. Okay. So the Kundalini is something that's been around forever, but it's starting to resurface. And why? Let's understand that God gives us the cure always. They're talking about the breath, they're talking about the lungs right now. Okay. Now, the lungs themselves, right, they help us and we need them. And without them, obviously, we're dead, right? There's certain things we could live without. Like they are like, oh, we can take out a kidney or we can take out of this. We we cannot live without our lungs. I think people have maybe taken out one lung, but imagine not being able to breathe. It's the worst feeling in the on the planet. I know. I've been through that. I've had asthma. I've been I know what it's like not to be able to breathe, okay? If you've almost drowned, terrible, right? If you're choking on something, terrible. Not a good feeling, okay? So here we go. So I'd never heard the Kundalini or spiritual awakening back in 1978 when my first seemingly innocuous experiences began. They were relatively mild then, resulting in sudden loss of boundaries and experience of oneness so profound that I could not find my body, and for a moment thought that I was everything in the room, unaware of what was really happening. I just thought these were odd instances of confusion. My Kundalini experiences became markedly more dramatic. Well, making love, I experienced spectacular orgasms. Okay, well, there you go. Probably shouldn't be talking about that on this, but that's what it says. Okay. Um, my head exploded, consciousness rocketed into me, a place where nothing but bliss and simple but powerful awareness that amounted to the I am. Okay. Still ignorant of what was happening. I paid little attention. I just thought I was having great, you know what? Okay. However, when the orgasm in my head began to occur in the middle of the day while at work and in places such as grocery stores, with no lovemaking to prompt them, I began to be frightened. I tried to short circuit these orgasmic waves, but the result was misery of intense heat pressure throughout my body, and my heart that pounded away from a frightening rate. Okay. Um, so if someone told you you're undergoing a spiritual awakening, I would have been confused because orgasm and spirituality did not go together in the small town or Catholic reality I was raised in. So they do say, and I want to talk about sexual stuff, which I typically don't really get into much here, but they do say that there's a connection between our lower chakra systems and our headspace when you're doing kundalini practice. Okay, and I've done this with I had a teacher who was teaching me kundalini, um and he would have me, what they call the nadis, right? He would have me contract certain parts of like your genital space, right? And close your eyes and breathe and connect it to your third eye, right? Or your pineal gland, right? And to feel the thing between the eyes and the connection between the lower. Now, what it is that these two are interconnected. And when they're open, right, you're receiving energy. It's going up through the vessel and out. Okay. The energy is twining up and out. Now, that experience is beyond what we can understand. And if you've experienced something like that, then you know that you're connecting to the divine. And you heard in the passage the I am. That is what we're trying to get to. I am. I am who? I am what? And then when we can get to I am that I am, we become one with source. But it's hard to get there because we want to put archetypes in our way, right? We want to attach ourselves to personalities. I am what? love. I am happy. I am enough, right? When we attach a word to it, we don't become that thing. In other words, the opposite of that. When I say I am enough, it's because we're saying I'm not enough. Okay. When you can say I am that I am, that just means you're still and you are. And you don't have to define yourself by something. Okay. Kind of a crazy, weird concept to understand. It's kind of like you don't know what you don't know kind of realm, or the box of outside the box, which you're really not outside the box, but maybe outside a smaller box of a bigger box, if that makes sense. Okay. So connecting into the Kundalini energy. Now there are breath work that you can do to purify it and to clear that out. What Kundalini does, and I'm giving you guys this information because I believe it's critical right now, especially now that we're talking about the lungs and breath. It cleans out the mucus in the body, the obstruction in the body. Okay. All disease starts from this obstruction. That's what happens when there's some sort of, think about it in a drain that's clogged. It starts to back up, and before you know it, water's seeping everywhere. When we clean out those plugs in our body's energy is able to operate. Think about a car, right? It breaks down because there's some obstruction somewhere. Something happens that causes it to break. So we are cleaning out the obstruction, which is the mucus. Now, there's some mucus in the body is good because what it does is it helps us to maintain those things that come in from the environment that are not good for us, right? So like it creates that mucus to stop that stuff from going further. But we've got to get it out so that we're synergized, okay? So the Kundalini again is the ability to connect to the breath. Breath is critical at this point. It's important that we understand the breath, okay? And it's important that you connect to your God self. And so it does both, right? It allows us to release the obstruction, it allows us to connect to the divine, the I am, okay? Now tell me, have a wonderful day. I love you. I love you too. Thank you for the love. I appreciate that. Somebody asked me, so what is your superpower or something? Because somebody was asking about mind reading and can you read minds? Or I go off topic here, but it's okay. Um, and I said, well, I don't think people can read I think people can read minds. Yes and no. Part of it is that we can read cues and we understand individual thought processes because patterns repeat themselves. Okay. And there's some basic feelings that individuals have, emotional programming that we have as human beings. And so it's kind of easy to understand where somebody is. I can look at a person and just by their body language, their face, they don't have to say anything. I know pretty much what's going on. Okay. I may not know the circumstances, but beyond that, they said, well, what is your superpower? I said, unconditional love, right? Not an easy thing to do. But I love you and I love you guys unconditionally. And you guys, I hope you know that. I hope you can feel it that there are people in this world that can love unconditionally. Is it easy? No. Is it a practice? Yes. Obviously, I'm human. Um, but I can still find my way back to love. And that's what I mean by unconditional love, finding your way back to love over and over again. Um, I have practiced Kundalini. Oh, thanks, Irene. I've practiced Kundalini 2 times and I was an amazing experience. Do need to include it more in my life. Yes, it's amazing. Thank you for sharing because it when you do Kundalini, you clean like literally it's here's the cool thing what I learned about Kundalini for myself, okay? When I was doing the Kundalini practice, I was able to sense and feel the connection between my navel cavity and my ear, which was cool because I had never understood. I mean, I could understand the connection, but I can tell when my ears and my all this is obstructed because the breath work that you do clears it out. And once it's all cleared out, my ears were cleared out too. And when my ears were cleared out, I didn't have it was the way that I could hear was even better I don't know how to explain it other than I could feel it, not just as a concept, not just as, oh yeah, I get that they're connected. I could feel the connection between the two. Never have I felt that connection before. But in doing the breath work, it allowed me to understand how each individual part is connected to one another. Pretty cool stuff. Not an intense practice either. Anybody could do it. I had my mother doing it. And she, she's older and she was able to do it, which is really cool. It also helped me with menstruation. It helped me with, so using the breath, just the breath alone is enough if you know how to do it or put it into practice, okay? Practicing Kundalini. Now, sometimes we have Kundalini energy without even realizing it. We have Kundalini experiences without even recognizing it. That wasn't the one that I wanted to read you guys, though. I think it might have been this one. When I first became acquainted with this exquisite mystical poetry of Rumi, I was in the midst of a long, rigorous dance with the divine in the form of awakened Kundalini. Rumi's or missive, missives made my soul swoon. They reflected the octave of love I had not previously assessed before. My turn with this amazing energy attuned me to its existence. Legend has it that the Turkish village square some 8 centuries ago, Rumi encountered a wandering dervish named Shams. Their meeting unleashed a mysterious something so powerful that Rumi was knocked off his mule by the impact. He and his Shams then surrendered themselves to a furtive relationship of deep spiritual communion that ignited a copious flow of ecstatic poetry, which to this day moves millions. One of my favorite Rumi poems ends with the refrain about being opened by the divinities, an experience I now relate to deeply. When I met Kundalini, I was knocked off my high horse and opened inward to my cellular and solar depths. All well as outward as the infinite cosmos, and trajectory of my life changed forever. I had been opened by and also into something infinite greater, wiser, and more powerful than myself, and which demanded my ongoing participation. Again, something so powerful as Kundalini. And I love this because that's what they're saying. It's greater than us. There's something greater than us, right? That greater than is what I call God or Yahweh or something that we cannot explain. We can't describe it. We're too tiny. We're just a part of the whole, but we're not the whole, but we are the whole, but we're part of it. I know it's confusing. Um, So I think what I'm going to do going forward, because there's a lot of different information, right, that I've thrown out there. I really, really highly encourage you to look at dispositionalism, understand where we are in this era. There's a video that I watched that was called, I can't remember the name of it, but it talks about the time frame that we're in. It talks about calendars. It talks about how the time frames and the eras and the eons or the ages or whatever they call it, because it's different things, where we are and what does it mean. Now, their theories, it's of course theoretical where we are, but we know that the Mayan calendar did in fact end. It started over, but it ended an era and started a new era or a new age. Okay. Good morning, Dennis. I have this like hangnail right here. It's kind of hurting. It's funny. Sorry. I'm just totally me. I love it. I love that I just be totally me. Who cares? I don't. I have to love me or who's gonna love me, right? Okay. Um, so it talks about the time and the eras. We are now entering Aquarius. I want to say this again. We're entering Aquarius. What does that mean? That means that there's going to be very, very, very dramatic paradigm shifts in everything. Our economy, our systems, our administration, the way it looks. Okay, our financial systems are going to look very different. Everything's going to change and look different. Okay, now It's up to you what you want to create. This is your time. Understand where you're at. Think critically. I told you guys about the trivium. Why? Because I want you guys to be able to think for yourself. This is important right now. And then I'm offering Kundalini to you guys because Kundalini can help you get grounded so that there's clarity in your life, so that you can actually clear the obstruction in your body. How do you remain healthy in a time where it feels like it's hard to remain healthy? When we have so many chemicals and pollutants and this chemistry and pills and pharmaceuticals and all this stuff that they throw at us that's polluting our bodies, right? How do we stay healthy and grounded so that when the energy into Aquarius fully arises, we're able to accept that energy? Things are going to look different, you guys. It's not going to go back to the same. I keep saying this, okay? I'm not saying it out of to frighten you. It's not a fearful thing. It's to tell you to prepare yourself. Be prepared. Be prepared, okay? Take steps, pray to God, ask God to show you, show me what I need to do next. Be so in love with God, be so passionate about God, Yahweh, universe, whatever it is, creator. I don't know what the word you use is. Be so passionate about that. You will get your answers. I just promise you. But things are going to look different, and I'm trying to support you the best that I know how. Okay, with whatever I have. So if you guys, if there's something that you have questions about or you need support with, please let me know. Please let me know. Please let me know. I'm here for you, always and forevermore. I love you guys so much. I want to go on to the there's one of the I'm not still not reading the one that I wanted to read for you guys. So I'm gonna find it, and tomorrow I'm gonna talk about it. And I think I haven't done a whole lot of research on the dispositionalism because I actually have my own work that I have to do, getting really busy with work. So when I'm able to do some more research on dispositionalism, and send some charts out so that you guys can see what that looks like. For those of you on the Podbean, if you go to Spirit and Coffee Talk on Facebook, you'll see that I put one video up, but I want to start putting up some of those charts to show you guys so that you guys can sort of have an idea of where we are. Now remember, as above so below, God is, the universe is giving us a administrative process that is shifting right now. We need to understand what administrative process we're going to be under so that we can prepare ourselves for what is next. The next thing that I do say is probably going to happen is the financial systems will collapse. Money's going to go away. Okay. That is it set in stone? It's a prediction for one, but it's not just a prediction based on what I think I know. It's based on what's happening in the world, based on patterns. Okay. Remember, predictions and prophecy are just patterns. They're just people looking at patterns and trends. Okay. And I can tell you right now that the banking system will be the next to go. Our entire economy is going to shift into something different. Okay. It won't go back to the same. So prepare yourself, not to be afraid, just to be prepared. Okay. So, um, supporting you guys through the transition. If there's something that I'm missing or anything that you guys would like me to discuss or you want to share, please share it with me. I always love hearing from you guys. Okay. So I love you guys. Have a great day. Go do some breath work. Go do some research on Kundalini. And I'm going to find that article. I'm also reading on anxiety as well. I do want to talk a little bit about anxiety because there are people who might be having a lot of anxiety right now that all this is going on. And I have been reading up on the anxiety stuff. I bought a magazine that had all these articles on anxiety, and I think that that would be critical as well. Kundalini can help you to release some of that anxiety. So I think both go hand in hand, right? Everything's always interconnected, as we know. You're welcome, Irene, of course. And thank you for sharing. And please share with me. I love to hear your stories, you guys. Okay. I would totally have people join me on this, but it becomes a challenge because Facebook doesn't make it so easy anymore. I have to have some other thing. And okay. Anywho, So I love you guys. Thank you, Suze, for always showing up. I was really worried about Will. I haven't seen Will on here. I hope that Will's okay. There's certain people I see show up and sometimes they don't, and then I'm like, where are they? Hopefully doing well. Prayers to everybody. Please, you guys say your prayers, send them out to people. And I love you guys. Remember, you're warriors of God. Boom. Warriors of the universe. Stay good and grounded. Okay. Love you guys. And I will be seeing you all tomorrow. Bye bye.